Hey everybody, welcome to Gary Talks. It was about a year ago that I altered the format of the show and started including celebrity interviews. Now a lot of times I book these interviews and I'll make the theme of the show around them. But there have been interviews that just didn't work with the theme of the show and they became bonus interviews. Those of you who go to GaryTalks.tv might have seen some of these, but if you just watch or listen to the podcast, these are probably new to you. So in the style of those sitcoms from the 70s or 80s that would have clip shows, I'm going to share with you my favorite bonus interviews of the past year. First up is two of the stars of Andor, Diego Luna and Adria Ajona. Andor is by far the best Star Wars show on Disney Plus and is currently in the middle of its final season. We're joined today by two of the stars, Diego Luna and Adria Ajona. So first, Diego, how hard is it to say goodbye to this character of Cassian Andor? I mean, you've been on this journey for a long time.
It's definitely hard to let go because I love playing this character. I enjoy every day of my work, of my job. This character also means working with this team, with this family, in this community. It means working in a show that it represents what I believe in as an artist, what I like to see also as audience. So yes, it's not easy. But it's also the way to do it, right? I mean, the best possible way to finish a job that has taken 10 years of my life is in the peak, in a moment where I'm still fascinated with what this job means, and I'm gonna miss it for sure. But I'm perfectly ready also to deliver the second season and go somewhere else. Yeah.
Totally. Now, Adria, where do we find Bix at the beginning of season 2? What has happened to her since the end of last season?
When we first meet Bix this season, we're sort of seeing the repercussions of what Dr. Gorst did to her. You're seeing her sort of try desperately to overcome these events, but you also see her sort of in what you find out really quickly is a home that she shares with Cassian. And throughout the season is, it's a beautiful exploration of this relationship, and also, Bix desperately trying to belong and trying to rebuild herself.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys touched on it right there a little bit, but can you go into the relationship between Andor and Bix this season?
I mean, the first season ends and then a full year passes and then we start the second season. And that year is crucial for the relation between Bix and Cassian. A lot happens, and as soon as we start season 2, we understand that they're there for each other, that they have become home for each other, and that they're together. And it's quite fascinating to see what they're capable of doing in terms of that personal and intimate connection, while the galaxy is going through the darkest times. They manage to keep something that just belongs to them, and that is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
Finally, Diego, what do you hope that Star Wars fans take away from this final season of Andor?
Well, I hope I don't know, what happened to me probably when I read the scripts, what happened to me when Tony pitched me this story 5 or 6 years ago, which is the beauty of paying attention to the life of regular people and finding out there's so much to learn there, to understand what communities are capable of, and how much hope is there in understanding that when we connect, when we are part of something bigger, we're powerful and strong. And I just hope they understand and they can see the amount of work or of care and love behind this second season, because we put everything there for audiences to enjoy. We love what we do, and this is an important moment when we are actually giving it away for audiences. So I hope they appreciate that.
Next, we're going to go back about 6 or 7 months, and I'll show you the interview with 2 stars of a show that has since been canceled. Here are the stars from that 90s show, Callie Haverda and the great Kurtwood Smith. That 70s show was certainly a staple when I was in college, and we never missed an episode. And now Netflix has a sequel series set 20 years later called That 90s Show. And here to talk about it today are 2 of the stars, Kurtwood Smith and Callie Haverda. Thank you guys for being on Gary Talks.
Thanks, Gary. How you doing today?
Doing great. You know, an entire generation grew up on that 70s show, and now an entirely new generation is growing up on that 90s show. So it seems that somehow Red Foreman has moved into that upper echelon of TV dads. Was this something you ever thought would happen?
No. No, I sort of, my career sort of, in film and television anyway, sort of began with me being responsible for the death of other characters. You know, it's funny, I remember the first year that I was doing the 70s show, and some guy came up to me one day on the street and said, "Oh, hey, man, listen, I just want to tell you, I've been watching your show, and it's really kind of funny, but I keep saying to myself, when is Red going to kill all the kids?" Which I thought was pretty amusing. And I can understand why people say that, but no, it's been great playing a TV dad,
I feel like, of course, when people first started watching that 90s show, they wanted to see the characters from that 70s show and see what they were up to, but quickly that 90s show found its own voice and became a show all on its own. Were you surprised at how quickly this happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we started, it was always like, even though this is, a continuation of 70s show, it's definitely its own show. It's the 90s, new cast of kids. We were taking inspiration from 70s, obviously, and we have a lot of people that worked on the original show helping us along with 90s. But we knew that it would, kind of become its own show. It was definitely surprising how quickly it came and how accepting everyone was of it. Obviously, we're very proud of the work, so not too surprised, but glad that it happened so, quickly.
I just want to mention that how smart this group of young people are. They're really, they're really bright and innovative, and just a terrific bunch to work with, as well as be able to work off. So we're extremely fortunate in the casting of the.
Well, speaking of casting, you guys have had some great guest stars over the past 2 seasons. You've had Lisa Loeb and Carmen Electra and Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. Are there any great guest stars coming up on this new season?
Yeah, I think so. Will Forte, who a lot of people probably know from Saturday Night Live, actually began on that 70s show, not as an actor at all, but as a writer. And he left there to go work on Saturday Night Live. And he comes back and does an episode for us, and he's just hilarious. And an actor named Wayne Knight, people know from all kinds of shows. In particular, Seinfeld, he played the character of Newman. Oh, my all-time favorite, Seth Green.
Hilarious.
I love Seth. I met Seth when he was like 12 or 13 years old or something like that. Yeah, he was just this little pipsqueak with just the wisest mouth in town. He was hilarious, and it's great working with him. Would you like to be part of this?
We also have, Kira Costner, who's coming as Betsy Kelso, which is, a big thing that I think fans were excited for. So her character definitely comes in and causes a lot of trouble and a lot of fun.
And finally, we completely missed out on what the Foreman family did during the 80s, so I gotta know, did Red ever watch RoboCop, and what did he think?
That's yeah. See, that's why you missed the '80s. It took him the entire decade to get over having seen RoboCop once.
I just want to thank you guys for being on Gary Talks, and I hope everyone checks out that '90s show on Netflix.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Thank you so much.
A little more recent, I had a chance to talk to one of my all-time favorite actors, Giancarlo Esposito, about Captain America: Brave New World. We are joined today by one of my all-time favorite actors, and he's one of the stars of the new Marvel Studios film, Captain America: Brave New World, opening today, Mr. Giancarlo Esposito. And my first question is, you've played so many iconic roles in your career, but what attracted you to Sidewinder?
I was attracted to having the ability to work with some excellent filmmakers who make these kinds of movies. This movie is not only action-packed and a geopolitical thriller that is a ride and a half, it also is a film that allows you to think a little bit about human relationships. And for me, Sidewinder was someone that I had to research going back to the comic and realizing what his background was before. Very intelligent man who goes to the darker side of things, which is also always an interesting character for me. But someone who is physical, who may have his roots as a mercenary, he may have been paramilitary, and he knows how to do things and knows how to get what he needs to get. And so those are some of the elements that attracted me to this guy. I also wanted to be able to play with Anthony Mackie as the new Captain America in Sam Wilson, someone who I think is just so adept and has such integrity in relationship to what he does in regard to playing this role, but someone that we've seen grow through this different incarnations of Captain America he's played, and now we want to see him take over the top spot.
How did you come up with your take on this character?
Oh, I read some comics. I looked up Seth Volker. I found out we were the exact same weight, 158 pounds. I looked at how he was dressed and what colors he had. I mean, the comic is a little bit, a lot different, possibly, than what we see. But there was a grounded nature of this character coming from an intellectual background that I liked a lot. And then so take that human being and have him train himself to become a lethal weapon. Became an important idea for me to nurture while I was working on this particular character.
I read in an interview a few years ago where you said something that was really interesting to me, and it was that you tackle a character through rhythm, like a musicality. And my question is, do directors appreciate your process?
I'm an actor who has played music and uses a metronome, played the saxophone and the piano. Everything is in its own time. And I have my own timing on the set. And so Julius had very simple ways of allowing Anthony and I to either pick up the pace, drop the pace, or think of it as a cat and mouse game. And when you think of something as cat and mouse, you got to think you like the guy you're working with. You like the actor. So it's not, I'm just going to come at him and I want to kill him. It's that his personality I'm taking in. And so Julius, welcomed the attitude that I had in that regard. And so you'll see that the chemistry happens within that. The chemistry between Anthony Mackie and Danny Ramirez happens within that hierarchy where he's the captain, but Danny has talent too, and they share an equal idea that obviously they're on the same side, but your strength is in computers, but he can also do this, and your strength is here, but he can also do this. So those elements of our film are cultivated by the genius of Julius Olna in welcoming them to come about. Also, directors who are only set on etched in stone, as he's one of the writers as well, to have things said a certain way, but always searching for how to say it better, are directors I really like, because that means they're loose. Maybe try to say this. Maybe try to say this. This works better. This works. That works. All within a couple of takes so you can nail it and move on.
Finally, how would you rate your first experience in the MCU?
I'd rate it as being over the moon. Terrifically exciting. One of the top movies I've ever made with a team as full of integrity and creativity as this Marvel team.
The Wild Robot was one of my favorite films of last year, and I felt that it should have won the Oscar for Best Animated Film. I had the opportunity to talk to quite a few of the cast, And here are two of those interviews, Lupita Nyong'o and Catherine O'Hara. We are joined by Oscar winner, movie star, and the voice of Roz, the wild robot, Lupita Nyong'o. And my first question is, tell me a little bit about your character, Roz, and how she fits into the overall story of the wild robot.
Roz is a robot who is destined to help human beings complete their tasks. She's destined to be of help to the people she serves. But she finds herself on an island that doesn't have any people on it. All the island has is wild animals. And for Roz, she has to adapt to the environment by learning the languages of the animals and really picking up how to survive in this place. But in the process, she never lets go of her true essence, which is to be of help and to be kind. And while it seems to be a liability to the animals she encounters, who say kindness has no place in this wild world, we find that her kindness ends up being her superpower and uniting the animals of the island in a time when it matters most.
Well, I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but from the trailer it looks amazing. What drew you to this movie? Why did you want to make it?
I was really taken by it because it has just such a genuinely human-centric message that is delivered through the story of a robot, and I just thought that was such an interesting way to get us to see ourselves more clearer.
So, what's it like seeing a character come to life when they're putting this film together?
It has been fascinating to have a front row seat to the process of making Roz and the world that she lives in. I remember, obviously there's the illustration that comes with Peter Brown's book that was the source material. But then there was all the interpretations from pencil sketches and then adding color and dimension and texture and scale that has come through the years, and to see the final version of Roz in the film as three-dimensional as you can possibly get with a two-dimensional medium. It's been so fascinating, and the choices have been very specific to tell this story. One of the coolest things, I think, is that they shied away from giving Roz a human-like face. So yes, she has limbs and that sort of thing, but her face is just two circles. She doesn't have a nose, she doesn't have a mouth, and therefore she doesn't have expression as we would expect it. And yet there's so much empathy we get from her as she evolves into a more empathetic, more individualized being.
Totally. For my last question, I saw in another interview that you really had to fight for the word wild to be included in the title of this film. Can you explain that?
When we think about the word wild in today's society, in modern society, urban society, it's something that we try and get away from as much as possible, right? It has a negative connotation, that it is untamed, it is unsophisticated, and therefore it is problematic. Our societies, as we develop them, we seek more order, we seek linear processes and predictability. But what we learn from nature is that it is perfectly imperfect, and there is a lot of intelligence in not doing the same things always, that there is an order in what would appear as wild. And what Roz learns is, in order to survive this natural world, she has to adapt and improvise and learn to innovate in order to be able to keep up with the laws of this world. And that's really important to remember as human beings, because at the end of the day, we are definitely a part of a wild world. And it is to our own benefit to remember that wildness and hold it dear.
Well, I am a big fan of your work. I really can't wait to see this movie, and I hope everyone checks out The Wild Robot. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
The word legend gets thrown around a lot, but this truly is a comedy legend. She has been in so many great films, as well as an Emmy winner for Schitt's Creek. I'm pleased to be able to talk to Catherine O'Hara, and my first question is, since you have been in so many different types of films and television, what makes an animated movie different?
The beautiful thing about animation is that there's nothing there by chance. Nothing on the screen is there by chance, and no sound or voice or bit of dialogue is there by chance. Every second of it is thought out by people who are doing beautiful work and really care about what they're doing.
Well, if you've done a ton of different types of movies, you've also done a ton of different types of characters. Tell me a little bit about your character of Pinktail.
Pinktail is a mother of a bunch of babies and is just dealing with, life a moment at a time, just present here. And then Roz is there. She sees that Roz has this baby now, and Roz is going to be a mother, so just in the moment, going to help her, going to guide her. I don't think Pinktail is aware of what a profound effect she's having on Roz's life, which is a life, even though she's a robot.
I get that. For my last question, what was it like to work with director Chris Sanders? I mean, he's done so many legendary animated films like Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon.
Chris is such a great director and so clear about what he wants and really funny. He's made my role much funnier than I was delivering it. Every single line is like, you know what else you could try? and made it funny and great and poignant when it needed to be. And yeah, it's been really fun.
I'm a huge Lego fan, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I love the Lego Star Wars universe. I had a chance to talk to two of the stars of Lego Star Wars Rebuilding the Galaxy, and here are those interviews. Bobby Moynahan and Gaten Matarazzo. You guys know him from Saturday Night Live. He was recently in the movie If, and he was one of my favorite parts of the movie Unfrosted, when he played Chef Boyardee. He's currently voicing Jedi Bob in Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, currently airing on Disney+. I'd like to welcome Bobby Moynahan to the show, and my first question is, as a Lego fan and a Star Wars fan, I feel like this was made for me, and I've heard that you also love Lego and Star Wars, so what was it like to be a part of this project?
As a fan of both Lego and Star Wars, growing up and as a full-blown adult, I love the idea. Like the whole concept of this show is like mix everything up and play with it together. I love that. I've always loved that. I love when like you see. Do you remember when like the Muppets would do Star Wars or like the Muppets
Treasure Island?
Like I love the idea of cross-genre cross-genre IPs kind of getting together and just doing that. And also just it's fun to see all of our favorite Star Wars characters in a brand new way. I would watch an entire series of Jedi Darth Vader. It's the coolest. Like he's the best. He's just misunderstood. I don't want to be a Darth Vader apologist right now, so I'm going to stop my answer.
Well, what did you know about Jedi Bob and his history in Lego when you took on the role?
I knew a lot about the history of Jedi Bob and kind of the playset before I got the role. I had this because I'm the coolest adult in the world. I had this before you did. I'll tell you that. I knew all about it. I like to collect things, and in the collector world, that was a fun story of just like this thing that they released that was kind of just to release something that the fans turned into now something I'm doing interviews about, and it's pretty cool to see that to fruition from start to be as being a fan of it, and now being able to say like I'm Jedi Bob. I'm that guy. I'm that guy that was just hanging around, and now he's part of it. It's kind of my whole career.
Well, I guess you can say that. What can you tell us about Jedi Bob's full name and if that's a nod to Lego?
The origins of Jedi Bob's name. Jedi, his full name, if you were to refer to him as requested would be Jedi Master Barbarian Aphol. Not so hard, but a pretty Star Warsy name, a pretty cool Star Warsy name, Jedi Master Barbarian Aphol. Aphol, AFOL, standing for adult fan of Legos, which is or adult fan of Lego. Pardon, sweet Jeebus, I almost messed up. There's no S in Lego, none. And there never will be.
Well, Jedi Bob is a really popular figure in the Lego world. How did you go about bringing him to life?
When I was cast as Jedi Bob, I got to talk to Dan and Benji, the creators of this series, all about building this character and kind of what they saw for it and what I saw for it, and what we ended up on, or at least what I ended up on in my mind, is sort of a mix between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn, if they were Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon. I think I very much improvised "I'm getting too old for this ship," SHIP, on every single time I was on a Star Wars ship, and I don't think it made it. But that was I was just trying a Jedi who tries really hard to sound like a Jedi. But isn't great at it. That's what I tried to do.
So what is Jedi Bob up to in LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, and can you tell me a little bit about his relationship with Sig?
What is Jedi Bob up to in this series? I'm guessing about an inch and a half, probably. But for a real answer, Jedi Bob is up to what he does best, saving galaxies and rebuilding them from the start. He's being Jedi Bob's journey is kind of becoming what he never wanted to be, which is responsible. I think for another person. He has some trauma in the past of what happened to him to become a Jedi. So the last thing he wants to do is pass that on to Sig, who is this kind of kid who he maybe sees some of himself in, who's gotten himself into this predicament and is trying to just do his best, kind of like Jedi Bob. So maybe that bit of Jedi Bob, the dad in him, or the father figure, or the Padawan to what would you call the
Master?
Master? Yeah, thank you.
Well, now I feel like I just got to help out a Jedi, so that's a dream fulfilled. And speaking of dreams, what were some of your favorite characters that you got to interact with in LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy?
I get to do a little bit with Mark Hamill and as Beach Luke, and Ahmed Best as Darth Jar Jar. It's the best. Fight Darth Jar Jar in a Lego movie if you can. It's really fun.
Well, I think my personal favorite part of this show are all the mashups. What was your favorite one?
Gosh, it changes minute to minute. It was Beach Luke. It still is Beach Luke. It will always be Beach Luke. But I'm going to tell you more anyway. I just love that Mark Hamill is so funny in this role. He's so good. Ahmed Best coming back to do Darth Jar Jar is absolutely amazing. I personally really like some of the little side guys. Like we got a little Darth Nubs in the background, and the way that Darth Maul is in this mixed up world. He is not just an evil Sisyphus. He is like just a gentleman, and I just really enjoy that. Gosh, there's so many. I truly love them all. I also can't wait to see it again because I'm going to watch it 1,000 times. So ask me this again in 2 weeks.
I'm going to put that in the calendar right now. Finally, what do you hope that fans take away from LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy?
Joy. I hope they get the joy that they got when they play with Lego or when they watch Star Wars. And I hope that it's doubled on top of itself because of the combination of the two. It's like having ice cream and a milkshake. Well, I guess that's the same thing. It's kind of like having a birthday cake and no, that's not, or a pie on a birthday. It's a pie on a birthday cake.
You guys know him best as Dustin from Stranger Things, and he is currently the voice of Sig on LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, airing on Disney+. We are pleased to welcome Gatton Matarazzo to the show, and my first question is, tell me a little bit about Sig, as isn't he the hero of the story?
Oh, Sig's just a little small town kid. He's just super content in his situation and loves his life, loves his loves his brother, loves his friends, loves the legends of Star Wars past, and he gets swept away on a journey when he accidentally runs across an ancient Jedi temple, which is then revealed that all the stories he knows and loves are true, and he accidentally removes a cornerstone piece that is that is integral to the structure of the galaxy. And upon removing it, it shuffles up, and he finds himself on the journey to try to reverse its effects, as well as becoming a Jedi Knight.
I know it has to be a little bit different coming up with a character like Dustin on Stranger Things versus voicing an animated character like Sig. How did you come up with this character?
What I felt very fortunate about is that Dan and Benji wrote down a pretty incredibly developed guy to initially jump into. There was like any questions I had, they had answers, and that was really, really refreshing and really easy. But also, they were very adamant about making sure that it felt spontaneous, and they let me fill in the blanks. I felt comfortable making suggestions and asking about line reads and little interjections. And I'm such a Star Wars fan, along with Sig specifically, that I felt comfortable enough to like put my own little references in every now and again, just for fun. Most of these are for sure not even going to make the cut, but being able to just have fun, and it was so freeing and exciting, and it did not take long for it to feel like home. And I think that's where the love of the show comes in. I think it's where the love of the character and everything he loves like feels real, is because there's so much love around this project. There's so like everybody who's a part of it is so honored to be doing it, and is over the moon to be a part of the Star Wars universe in context of something so brilliant like this. I'm just so ever so grateful, and that I think translates into what's on the page and what I tried to give. Because as I think I'm just as grateful to be on this journey as Sig is to be on his.
Finally, there are so many great mashups in this series. I think it was probably the best part. What was your favorite?
I really did love. I've said it before, but I think that just even if it's as a bit, the Greedo Han Leia love triangle is really freaking funny. I think that's just genius. I think Beach Bum Luke is just ridiculous as a concept and so funny. Like just this, yeah, like this day drinking loser who just like gambles is it's hilarious. Like, and I'm sure that Mark had a lot of fun playing it. I'm so excited to hear what he did with it. I've heard like little snippets here and there, but yeah, particularly I'm very excited to hear all of our voices paired up alongside Mark's, which is kind of bizarre to even conceive that that's going to happen.
And finally, a more recent interview, as I talked to Sonequa Martin-Green about one of my favorite films of this year so far, My Dead Friend Zoe. There's a new movie opening tomorrow named My Dead Friend Zoe. It's about an Army vet returning home and haunted by the ghost of her dead best friend. We are joined by the star of that film, Sonequa Martin-Green. Welcome to Gary Talks.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me.
In the movie, your character, Merritt, is dealing with a lot of issues that she's not ready to talk about yet, which means that most of your performance is internalized. How difficult is that as an actor?
Oh, thank you for that question. I don't know. It's one of the things that I actually quite love is when there is a lot on your mind. When there's a lot on my mind. I was wanting so badly to do Kyle's life and his story justice, and also all veterans and non-veterans too, struggling with this kind of pain. And so I was hyper focused. And I think at times hyper vigilant to a detriment, wanting so badly to get it right. And so I really appreciated all of the life there, right? And it is challenging, for me, for those reasons more than anything, just wanting so badly to do it justice. But I also kind of, I don't know, I just find it kind of fun when there's lots and lots and lots to think about.
One of the things that you guys did great in this movie is, yes, it's tackling serious subject matter, but it's also pretty funny. I mean, it's not the kind of movie where you're gonna cry all the way through it, you're just gonna cry in parts. Was that a hard line to walk?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think the script itself was this perfect balance of comedy and drama. And, Kyle Hausman Stokes knew that that was what was needed. He knew that it was going to have to be funny. He talks about how, that's a big thing in the military and in the army specifically, because that was his experience is humor. He said we laugh all the time. We use humor to connect with each other and to get through what we're going through. You just don't see that a lot in the portrayal of military service. And so he wanted to make sure he just doused this story with that. And it was perfectly balanced, I think, greatly because of Natalie Morales. Also Utkarsh Ambudkar. But Natalie is such a precise, she's a tactician and a technician, and she understands every moment and understands the science and the math of humor. And so I think, for me, thankfully, it was quite effortless because her and I were effortless with each other. So the comedy and the drama is just sort of automatically there.
Well, yeah, you guys really did play well off each other. And speaking of cast, you had a chance to share the screen with two of the greatest of all time, Morgan Freeman and Ed Harris. What was it like working with those two legends?
It's a masterclass. It is daunting. It is also so bright. Goodness. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to Morgan. And I'm also just so grateful to Ed because he let me into his heart, and we dove off the cliff of the moment together. And it was such a safe, sweet space to share with him. And he didn't have to be that available. He didn't have to be that engaged. I tell him all the time, his eyes are like oceans and you can just dive into them. And he just opens up the doors to these oceans and he goes, come on in, let's play. And gosh, I love it so much. I'm better for it. Every moment I was in, close up in his face, I learned something.
Finally, how good are you really at Buck Hunter?
Nobody has ever asked that question. Yo, I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty good. I think I've had enough practice shooting. I think I'm pretty good.
That's awesome. Well, again, My Dead Friend Zoe is opening in theaters everywhere tomorrow. Thank you so much for being on Gary Talks.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed those interviews. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode as I look at my top 10 favorite medical TV shows. See you then.
From capes to tapes, Gary's on the case. He's breaking down each scene, every place. On Gary Talks, he's quick with his peculiar wits. From plot twists to the comic strips, Gary's flipping sick.